Now we're live.
Woo.
All right, now it actually is. They got like us moving and happy shit like that. So how they got
Very
hacked?
nice.
Episode 52.
52. Nice.
Feels like it should be more than that. I don't
Eh,
know.
hey, but 52 it is.
52 it is. 52 times we've
Yeah.
been here. Watching live, people got in there. I've tweeted it out. Hopefully some people start joining us. The show before the show is what we were going to go live earlier, but when a couple smart people get talking.
Yeah. Yeah. We sat here and chatted for a better part of an hour, maybe plus actually.
Yeah, no, if there's something I always hanging out with Xavier is always a good time. So both of us, we both are worked in tech for a while, have a lot of ideas. So and we probably should make a few more videos on how we chew out ideas, because that itself is its own topic.
Yeah, it is actually. And we got some stuff. I mean, one thing that I learned is, and I learned this from a very wise woman actually, and she told me to dream as big as you can because dreams are free. And that kind of stuck with me from when I was a kid all the way till I was older. And that's kind of my mantra. It's like I wake up every day, and if it can be done, if I have the desire to do it, I try and go get after it. And there's not a whole lot of people in the world that do that. And Tom is one of those. He outpaces me at it.
I don't know about that, but
I
it
mean,
is.
man.
There's a lot of it where I'm always, and I think the first thing I said to you when we started was like, we got to think bigger. And that's one of those, you hear that and it sounds generic, I know, but the other side of it is it's always looking at what you're doing. What can you do more? How can we involve more people in it? How can we help more people with it? Because it's not like the one thing that I think bothers me, and this is how I know someone I always don't want to talk to, is they go, how do you just make more money at it? And
Right.
I thought about that because I seen an ad to sign up for something for some MSP training. The title of the ad is, well, we're going to tell you our best margin products. Well, how about you tell me what's the best product for security? Not the best It always starts with what's the best margin. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I mean, you need to make money. I'm not denying the importance of it, but I start with what's the best product. Oh, cool. We can use this product and I can make money. That's a good win. I heard someone say they don't recommend, like I had an argument with someone in a forum. They said, I don't recommend Signal, not because I don't think it's the best, but because it doesn't have a reseller program. I'm like, yeah, because it's fucking free. But it doesn't have a reseller program was their answer for why I don't like recommending it to my clients. I can't sell them on it. Like literally, I can't make money off of telling them to use their product, so I don't recommend it. I'm like,
yes, people are shitty.
yeah. And I'm like, but it's a good way to send secure information.
Yeah.
And, you don't want your DMs made public like this Twitter place.
Right. Oh, man. Twitter is having a really, really hard day, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
So
hard week.
I figure we'll start with the elephant in the room because there's plenty to talk about it. So we'll jump on. You want to do Twitter's? Oh, let me make sure you have the ability. There we go. You should have the ability to share screen now.
Cool. So yeah, Twitter went ahead and I don't know if can everyone read this? Let's see. I'll zoom in a little bit. I know I have on dark mode because I try and save my eyes. I don't know about the rest of the world, but
I love dark mode.
I try. Basically, Twitter had an issue on Wednesday, not Thursday.
It was going into.
Was it Wednesday? Was it Wednesday night?
Wednesday night, essentially, I think.
Yeah, Wednesday night. Well, probably after a late evening for Twitter, since they're on the West Coast. It seems like they had what looked to be like number of very popular accounts start to tweet out what was obviously a scam for money. Bitcoin Ponzi scam saying, hey, if you send me, 1,000 Bitcoin, I'll send you 2,000 back. And I'm talking about Elon Musk. I'm talking about,
130 verified Twitter accounts.
Yeah, we're talking about verified people. And so, like, we kind of put weight on verification as a society. We're like, hey, if
it's
you're
legit.
verified,
these people are doing it.
That's who that person is, right? So, I mean, we still have our common sense about us as free thinkers. So of course, lots of people didn't fall for this, but we're hearing anywhere between 100 to $600,000 was generated from this. Uh, so
I
that's one to
haven't
600 people.
Yeah, I don't know if I haven't found a concise number because I see the numbers, like Xavier said, are kind of all over the place. But of the 130 accounts that they had access to, they didn't all give the same Bitcoin ID. So that's made it a little bit tricky. But we know a lot of money was made off of this. Now, the other allegations are, and a couple other sources we have links to, is that the insider threat that gained access to what they call I think they call it the employee dashboard. It's the main Twitter control panel, essentially God mode for people inside of Twitter, so they can
your
handle
Twitter data
things.
is what they were calling it.
Yeah, your Twitter data tool. So I guess that's
Yep.
the internal name for it. But so it started with Vice News. Some hackers got in forums and were sharing screenshots, or I guess the hacker was sharing screenshots saying, "Hey, I have access to this control panel," and things like that. So
yeah, it
which made complete sense. Almost immediately, I knew it was inside. It had to be inside because of a couple things. You can't, because everyone's like, "Oh, they must have bypassed 2FA." I'm like, you can't bypass 2FA and 130 accounts all at once.
Nope.
That would be just unplausible to think that somehow that hacked. More plausible is the answer of, well, yeah, someone gained access to the inside Twitter thing and took over 130 popular accounts. That's a way better answer. And fits. Now
it took over the account of Joe Biden, so it's just like it went pretty far.
Yeah. Well, and the other differential information that you have is ever since this dashboard was used to mess with Trump's account, Jack Dorsey took the ability to manage the Trump account out of the dashboard and only into his own. So the only other person that can mess with Trump was Jack Dorsey himself. So the fact that wasn't in control, one, proved Jack Dorsey did what he said he was going to do.
Exactly.
And
he
two,
knows something.
Yeah, he's like, and two, it would have been one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest accounts. Just by that status alone, you would have done it.
Yep.
Yeah. So that made us think, okay, definitely insider threat. The other piece of it would have been the fact that makes me think it's young, almost like script kiddie type hackers. This is what a lot of people had said. Is they didn't use it to manipulate financial markets. So if you would have used this access in a very intelligent way, you could have, in a more nuanced way, said, hey, buy this stock. And a handful of really prominent people, Bill Gates, Elon, and manipulate stock prices. Now, the downside of that might have been it's hard because when you buy and sell stocks, it's not done in cryptocurrency. So there are some names attached to buy and sell orders, but that's still not easy to sort out because a lot of people make a lot of gains. You can't say everyone that gained by this was necessarily that. But and you could have bought the stock 6 months ago, put a short order on it, short the stock, let the stock tumble off of a few tweets, and then cash out on your short order that was placed 6 months ago. Be a really
desperate shorter too. Like, oh my God, this is I have a call coming up and I'm going to lose my ass on it. Like now I have to like hack Twitter for $2,000 apparently.
Yeah. Now that's the other side of this is I did it not because I think MSN is the best tech news site. I did it because you're the only one that doesn't have a paywall in front of it. But MSN said the amount paid to an employee was $2,000. And this is where me and Xavier had a fun, so Jack Dorsey said social engineering in here, but is paying someone money to give access social engineering? In a broad sense it is. It's probably what the lawyers told him to say. Because you can guarantee there's one problem going on right now at Twitter that is very clear. All the lawyers told everybody to shut up. And this was written by not an attorney, but a team of attorney and PR people for the for the whole way Twitter responded to this. So we're not going to get any easy answers anytime soon out of this.
Nope. Surely won't. And it's just crazy because it seems like really what this came down to was the need for account takeover. Like they didn't really care about the control as much as they cared about the money. They were more in it for just quick pump, dump, get in and out. They made money selling single letter and single number usernames before, probably on OG accounts or whatever the hell that website is. So who knows?
The other thing too that I thought was interesting was there's they said a few, and this was I think in that final article I had, they admitted that yes, someone definitely downloaded the whole grab my data download, and this is where I think a senator was really upset by this in questioning Dorsey, because he's like, so they got my DMs, right? Yeah, right. Is there a reason? Is there a reason that's scary?
Because in reality, right, you would assume otherwise that your direct messages are direct messages and not public messages. And the moment that they go into the hands of someone else, they're potentially public messages.
Yep, they're potentially either for blackmail, if they, threatening to go public, or some people just go, I just think everything should be public, including your personal whatever you shared on here. And yeah, that can be pretty painful, especially if you think about the history of it. And history is an important thing here when it comes to messaging. One of the reasons, and this even goes to my communication with me and my wife, we frequently use Signal, and with her, I never let it set more than 7 days. The advantage is she can never find anything stupid I said over 7 days old and use it against me.
Oh, man.
But I mean, you apply those rules all the time. I try to keep everything that is Signal is one of my favorite ones, but I never leave unlimited messages. I never have an archive. I never have more than some number of days. Like even with our, we have Signal's used as a group chat internally with my staff, and we keep it down to 24 hours because nothing we may comment in there we want more than 24 hours, because maybe we drop part of a password in there for some piece of information. I say part because even that's how we go to do it. I'll drop some piece but leave something omitted. But general stuff like that, or even employee phone numbers, I don't want that to have a history when like, I need to call so-and-so. They gave me their cell and the voicemail, and I'll drop it in that, and in an hour I know it's gone. Right. We'll set the expiration date on there. So it's one of those things like keeping your messages short. Do you need that much history? Do you need to have it? I try to think about that all the time, but I know the general public doesn't. So that's probably why this is so scary, especially to politicians who generally don't have a good grasp on technology, but have a history of saying dumb shit. They're like, oh, I may have shared some opinions about people
that I shouldn't have.
That I shouldn't have typed ever. I should have. Yeah. So there's undoubtedly a lot of terrified people that stuff was downloaded.
Oh, for sure. Most certainly.
Yeah. This is where they were showing like the verified internal screenshot showing the panel's access to Binance. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I mean, we're talking about accounts that have been around for over a decade that are verified and are now tweeting out whatever due to just a small amount of money or some kind of social engineering, whatever they want to call it, right? It could have been a phishing page. That could have been an email.
Yeah.
Could have been anything. But right now, everyone's all kind of up in arms and trying to, wonder, where did this data go? Who has it? What is it limited to? What's the scope of it? And even Twitter can't answer that right now. They don't know. Right. 100%.
Now, they do show, because Twitter undoubtedly has extensive logging. So they're going to be able to reverse this. They're going to be able to go through a lot of forensics data. They should then lead to a really solid postmortem on this, because, well, it's being done step by step. So you do have, like levels of things that are going to be like, I seen Department of Justice at the end of that. We're going to have like the FBI, because there's finances involved. Yeah. You're going to have all the major government agencies, not to mention the high-profile nature. You messed with, political candidates and things like that. So they're going to go through it. We're going to get a postmortem because it's going to be public record.
Right. And like you would imagine that right now, there's not just some private investigator that Twitter has hired or private forensics company that they've hired. They've called the FBI, right? Like that's what you do when major shit like this happens. This is a major crime, right?
Yeah.
This is next level computer fraud and abuse. So
it hits every, like there's not a law that wasn't broken. Yeah. Right. We got a financial crime. We got misuse of computer crime. We got a list of things. Bribery. If that part's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta be careful.
Something at the very and I think it's in the show notes too, is it called D-Digger? Should we just mention it real quick?
D-Digger?
The very top link.
Oh yeah, we could. Yeah,
it's worth mentioning. Yeah. People want some tools.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, make your life a little fun. And I gotta dig through because I haven't looked. There was that other site that scrubs for passwords on GitHub and credentials that we had talked about a long time ago. It
Yep.
shows them in real time. This is an interesting tool that someone came up with, and
Yes.
it's free. It will search from it'll search open GitHubs, or I'm sorry, not open Google Drive stuff. So there's a lot. If you spend any time in Reddit/r/open directories, oh God. Hey, type the word agreement in there. I found a not security related loose, but if you wanted, if you type in like different types of agreements, like when you ever have to go find something, this is actually great for finding agreements. So you don't, instead of going paying for a template, you can find all kinds of templates people did for all kinds of things. I found like house purchase agreements in here, all kinds of those templates that you have to search for.
That's interesting. Let me see. I mean, what do I want to search for?
Passwords. That's
Passwords.
I like how it autocompletes because you did this before. That's like the first word. That's the first thing I typed in here. What are you talking?
Passwords.
Yeah.
Good old passwords. Yeah, I mean, there's no first name, last name, right? Like Francis Howell. Username, Francis. Last name, password. Yeah.
Yeah. There's, you know what? The sad
times.
part is the password search, tons of schools. Password reset. Matter of fact, it says your new student ID is your student ID number, and it's a short number you could guess. And then this password combined with your student ID number. You're like,
man, I'm trying to figure out. Let me see.
A non-compete. There you go. If you ever need a non-complete template, you can probably find one real quick.
Looking for jet plans.
And we already know there's at least someone who's going on there, and if you just look at what's trending, you know there's just a bunch of people looking for porn on there. So
ATM manuals.
There's a lot of movies in there too. So what's some recent movies out there?
I don't even know. That's what's crazy. I'm like lost on. I'm not a movie person.
Yeah,
but I bet you my favorite movie is on there. Hackers. Oh well.
Hey, there's apparently hacker movie. There you go.
Yeah.
Actually, if you typed in hacking, there's a bunch of ebooks on there, so you could probably find a bunch of free books too. CBT Nuggets books. Oh yeah.
Ooh. The Philippine National Police Anti-Cybercrime Group.
Yeah. There's all kinds of fun things you can find in here.
Yeah.
The Complete Guide to Ethical Hacking, the book collection.
Give it here. Let's see. Let's see if we can find anything for Tom.
Oh, wouldn't that?
No.
Oh, that would be if I didn't do this. Oh, well. Try Thomas. Wow. All right. Well.
I don't know if I'm spelling that right.
You are. L-E-W-R-E-N-C. You got it right.
There you go. Here, let's see.
Well, you didn't find me.
Oh, no, wait. What's your company's name?
Lawrence Technology Services.
I'm concerned that your customers.
Oh, not much.
A whole bunch of nothing.
A whole bunch of nothing. Either way, I thought this would be fun. It's a fun little tool. I thought that was a weird common search was the tiny house. There's a bunch of documents on how to build a tiny house, which I thought was kind of cool.
I want to know, like, how much does it cost? It looks like for 25, 28 square feet, you get 22 grand. Done. Easy. In and out.
Yeah. Previews and plans.
I'm like a fiend for
collecting information. I like that they allow wildcard searches too, like star.docx. Just find a bunch of documents and go have at it. Star.pdf, star.docx, star.whatever. Porn, nude. That's all right on there. There's no shock there.
It's really interesting, actually. Ooh, let's see if we can get free books from SANS. Nope. No free books from SANS.
Yeah, it could be. It's a lot of pages to search through.
That's true. Ooh. Might want to be
Full
careful
hacking
there.
course. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Okay.
That's enough. That's
This is
enough.
enough. But tools are fun. That's why we wanted to share them.
I will spend time all day and find the one thing. I'm a rabbit hole finder. Like just in that quick 2 minutes. I'm pretty sure the chat is going crazy. I don't even have the chat up. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Nah, not too many people in chat. We got 30 people, but not too many people in chat here.
Ooh, what's up, chat? Drop some F's in the chat, bro. What's up?
Yeah, they're here. Smash them likes and all that fun stuff. We got more articles we're gonna go through, but I just wanted to cover that tool. I was like, it's novel. It's the novelty of it. So
that tool's not bad at all.
But what is bad is Cisco. They would have been in the news if it wasn't for everything else. And me and you did a video on, we broke down the SIG-REDs. We're not going to cover it here, but we have a whole video you can find on SIG-RED on my channel. Me and Xavier spent about 20 minutes diving into it. That kind of, before, Twitter did. So what do we have? SIG-RED Monday or Patch Tuesday. So SIG-RED Tuesday. Then Twitter destroyed the security world and InfoSec on Wednesday. And then Thursday, I can't remember what happened, but Friday, Cloudflare blew up. So
dude,
we got so buried in news, we almost, Cisco. Don't worry, they're shit in the bed too.
34, excuse me, 34 vulnerabilities?
34, and a lot of them are remote code execution. My favorite one out of the pure annoyance of this is one of them is in their licensing web interface. So the licensing thing was actually the problem. And they do note in the ZDNet article here at the top, though. Oh, that's right. SAP and VMware also had them. SAP had a 0-day.
Man, and Adobe. Oh. Man.
And Adobe and SIG-RED. This has been the craziest security week we've seen in a while for everything.
This is what happens when security researchers get bored over COVID and research. This research, the CVEs that are coming out are probably the last 5 months of research for someone.
Yep, just drop it. Well, and some of them were, because when you look at the the CVEs are issued earlier than the patches. So when you look at a low CVE number, you're like, oh, they found that a little while ago. It took them all to patch it.
CVEs come out all the time without publicly being released. You can address the CVE number privately.
Well, yeah, look at SIG-RED is 1350, and CVE 3330 is the more recent one.
Right. Exactly.
2,000 bugs ago.
So now the way that the CVE numbering, there's an issue authority, kind of like there's a certificate authority, and it's made up of a set of companies. Here, give me 1 second. I'll pull it up. So there are like a number of companies that are authorized to be able to, they're called CVE numbering authorities, I believe. And there are 118 vendors and projects. So Adobe can issue their own CVEs, right? And this is the way that so many CVEs come out now. So if I reach out to Adobe and I say, hey, I found a bug, they say, hey, you're right, that's a bug. They actually have the right to assign their own CVE numbers. Same thing for AMD, Airbus, Alibaba. This is a newer pattern, like in the last decade. That's the reason why you see a large spike of CVEs come out in like 2014, 2015, because this happened. So Apple issues. I'm curious to see what Google's is, because this is the reason why people, here you go, Google products that are not covered by Android and Chrome, as well as vulnerabilities in third-party software discovered by Google. See? So any bugs that are not covered by a certificate numbering authority already, Google's red team, what do they call that? Tavis Armady works on? Project Zero?
Project Zero. Yep.
They get to actually assign a CVE to your product. Right, so Tavis goes out, finds a bug, lets you know. Google literally puts a CVE number onto it, and it's up to you to get it patched. So we're moving closer and closer to that more often CVEs will come out. So yeah, like in a matter of months, we're talking about 3,000, 2,000 CVEs later.
Yeah.
Nuts. Excuse me. But yeah, CVE 2020-3330 has a severity of 9.8. This is, I believe, remote code execution through Telnet.
Yep.
Due to, I guess, a static password, which you would think that they would just go over their entire code base and just search for Cisco, password, shit like
Well,
that.
and Cisco reached out to me on my YouTube channel. They wanted me to review some of these, Cisco smaller routers. And I said, I didn't even want to review them because I don't want to even legitimize them because their small business equipment seems to be like they don't care about security in it. It's like we get it out there so we can keep our name in the small business market because our stuff that we actually take the time to do some security on is super expensive. And look at these. This is 9.8 on a VPN product for small business.
These are high, right? And let's be honest, these small businesses aren't watching this news. They're not aware, and until something breaks, they don't call anyone and ask because they always feel like, hey, they're going to ask me for more money because there's always something to do. So Cisco is not making our lives easier. I mean, we're talking about SQL injections, cross-site scripting, information leaks, the knowledge service, remote code execution, all in one. So be careful, stay vigilant, patch often.
Patch. Don't buy Cisco. Don't buy that Cisco. I just don't like that product. That's why I wouldn't review it. I just said there's my history of every time I've seen it, and this is not the first round. There was what was that company? I want to say it was called Redbubble Security. When Cisco had patched a previous VPN product for puking its credentials, they found if you sent a well-crafted command to it, it would puke the entire config file back out. And then you could take the config file and reverse out anything you needed for the config. Right. Well, their fix for it was to block curl.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, your fixes.
No, and they did it with the way that they blocked curl, though. Never forget, they did it using the curl user agent. So all you had to do is just add a number to the curl user agent, curl 1, and it would work.
Yep. And of course, I like their follow-up on it was, I think they had used the user agent ID of totally not curl. Typical hacker fashion. And it worked. They're like, you didn't fix this at all.
Of course it works. Every single time. No problem.
Totally not curl.
Totally. This is totally not curl.
So
man.
We do have at least some this week in ransomware. So it's not that it wasn't happening. It's just that everything else was so noisy. So we have a list at least.
Yeah, just a list of brand new ransomwares. And that's what's actually strange is, these are variants. So I'm not saying that these are new groups, but in a week of such craziness, you see that the ransomware groups stay really, really vigilant and focused and dedicated on their craft. Yeah. They do not flinch, and no matter what, COVID didn't slow them down. Twitter being hacked, DNS issues didn't slow them down. If anything, they're just adding this to their playbook. Like, oh look, we got 30 new ways into Cisco products. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I think there was at least almost, I don't even know if it lasted a week. I think there was like a couple times when a few of them had made some announcement, well, not target medical places. And it's 6 days later they're targeting medical places.
Of course. Because let's be real, they want to get the medical people to get their pants down. It's like, oh yeah, they're not going to attack us. We're good to go. In reality, they don't care, right? Like the new Matrix ransomware variant, new phonics scripter. Phonics scripter, I've never heard of this one before. So I'm curious to see where that one goes. And that was just on one day, July 12th. The 13th, there was a new AgeLocker ransomware that uses something called Googler's Utility. I'm not sure what exactly Googler's Utility is. Another new ransomware, REPO Stop ransomware. I have no idea. These are all okay. I know Dharma. ZBW, Macop. I don't know that one. Fastwin. Don't know that one. These are all like I've never heard of these.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one, and we're not surprised about that one right there. Orange confirms ransomware Orange has confirmed bleeping computer that they are suffered a ransomware attack and exposing data of 20 of their enterprise customers. So Orange, they're a IT company, aren't they?
I thought VoIP.
VoIP. Okay,
I
I knew
think.
they worked in a space. I've seen their name come up a few times.
Let's see. Orange is a mobile operator in Europe. They're the fourth largest mobile operator.
Okay.
So yeah, that sucks because that means that some of our fans that are across the pond over there probably got slurped up. You know,
Very
I mean, but
likely.
they're only talking about 20 customers, so that's really limited. Well, maybe their entire book of business is 50 people, right? Largest. They're like Alibaba, right? Like Alibaba Cloud is. Did you even know Alibaba had a cloud?
Yeah, I
Do
knew
you know
they
what
did.
you know what Alibaba's cloud is? You know what they did?
Huh.
They took AWS's SDK and did a find and replace on all AWS and changed it to Alibaba. It's literally a one-to-one clone.
Oh wow.
It's amazing that they just. I mean, and that's the nature of the that region basically, right? Like they clone things very, very well.
Yeah.
That shit was just amazing to me.
We also had to run into a weird issue. We had a client that was considering, because they have Chinese operations as well, they wanted to know how much it was to get some of their stuff shifted so it could be in Azure over in China. Yeah, that's not easy. It's really, really difficult if you do put it there and justify why you want it hosted in China. Being able to get access even from your US side of Azure is really hard. There's like walls they build around it, man. It's really interesting. Because
Otherwise, then that would
getting
just be
data
the
back and
number
forth
one.
is hard.
That'd be a really easy way for you just to break out of the Great Wall, the Great Firewall of China from inside of China, right? Like
Yeah.
you would just say, "Hey, I want to go spin up an Azure instance, plop OpenVPN on it, and go watch TV."
Yeah. So
They
it's
don't want you to do that.
right, but you have to go through, because we're not real far, but at least we researched the project. You had to go through like the Ministry of Finance and justify why you needed any type of data egress between your US location and that. And then I started understanding a lot better now why, because I looked into how Tesla runs it. When they set these Chinese divisions, they set them up as 100% different companies. There's no back end. There's no. They don't even share any of the emails, so it's always a different domain and everything. It's basically its own little island, which is kind of interesting. But it's for that reason, so they lock it down.
Yeah, I mean, between intellectual property theft and just wanting to not upset the Chinese government, it makes sense just to have a completely different company
Yep.
over in China if that's where you want to do business. When I worked for GE and GM, they had GE China, GM China, right? Those were completely different companies, and that was just the way that they did it. They have different, plans and different cars and frames and all the technology is just separate, right? It's really, really interesting to see different designers, different tooling, different everything. So very interesting. But nevertheless, we got off into a tangent here.
Yeah, we did. But there is a massive list here. Just like, wow.
Yeah, and that's just a week's worth.
That's a week.
Nuts.
So
Yeah.
don't worry, the ransom's still there. It's still going on. Links in the show notes if you want to read all the new latest and greatest in ransomware.
Right.
So much of it.
Yeah.
Now,
so much, dude. 40 gigs of training videos for
now this is a whole different problem. This is an OPSEC fail, and this is not the first time they've had an OPSEC fail.
I want a copy for one. All right. Iranian hackers literally expose training videos online, and I really, 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 really want a copy. Charming Kitty, also known as Phosphorus, also known as APT-35. They leaked all their stuffs, man.
Yep. And IBM's team is one that exposed all this.
Yep. X-Force found a VPS that was left exposed and happened to have more than 40 gigabytes of data on it. And within that was videos on how to do all types of stuff. So yeah, very, Very interesting.
They had access to targets' emails and social media credentials through spear phishing, use the information to log in accounts, and delete notifications of suspicious logins as not to alert the victim. So, but through their training video, they didn't blur it out essentially and like, hey, this is how you hack. And by the way, these are the people we have hacked. Oh, by the way, we also left it on an unsecured server so anyone could download it.
Right. Self-recorded themselves hacking, gave it to security researchers who then gave it to the rest of us.
Yep.
It's pretty nuts. This, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, OPSEC is hard, right? Like, we
Yes.
talk about OPSEC fails every week, and this is the reason why you don't do stuff that you can't get yourself out of, right? Like, if you think that you're going to be some black hat hacker and you're just going to traverse the networks and be into the ether, like, that's cute. But in reality, like, keeping up with all that shit is hard. No one wants to be looking over their shoulder nonstop, right? So, um, you know, even the best, and we know that Iran has some good hackers. I won't call them the best. They're fairly good, right?
Yeah.
But you know, this is one of their new modes of operation, and we see that they're failing at operational security, which means they're probably failing at other things. They clearly don't have good patching. They're not you know, like they wouldn't have gotten compromised by IBM X Force if they were patching. So
Well, also leaving an unconfigured server exposed, that's just not scanning your own stuff to make sure that you configured it
right,
right.
right.
That's a big piece of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to a couple of hacker friends yesterday, and I'm like, "When's the last time you guys give yourself a pen test, a vulnerability assessment, anything?" Right? Like, I'm standing up a lot of shit on my environment right now. It's a must that every month I just have a report that lets me know what's new, what's there, what's out of date, what's in date, and
Yep.
even if I don't look at that shit for a couple of months and come back to it, it's there. I don't have to think about it. I can immediately go to those hosts, run a one-liner, and they become compliant. Right? Like that kind of shit is super important, right? Like if they would have just had a cron job that was running apt-get install update upgrade, then they probably would have
Not
they
had these
probably
problems.
wouldn't have even had
As
this issue.
simple as that.
Simple as a one time every Sunday, update everything and walk away.
Yep.
Simple. So it's the little shit. I mean, but that's what operational security ends up being. It ends up being a bunch of little things that makes up one big thing. And that's the reason why it's really, really hard, because you can do 99% of it right and fuck up on the one thing out of 100, and that's the entire operation.
And it's funny because you would think they'd know that because this is how hackers exploit things. That's why that's why defense is so hard and red teams win so often. Defense is securing 100 things all the time,
Right.
and red team is finding the one thing you forgot last Sunday.
Pinhole. Exactly.
Unattended upgrades is fine. Yeah, someone said that in the comments. Yes. If you're, on Debian, it's apt-get install unattended upgrades. The default configuration automatically patches security. So,
yeah, on Linux it works. I wouldn't know. I don't know about Windows.
oh God, Windows. Good luck if the upgrades don't destroy your machine.
Exactly. I'm sorry, we lost your system disk, but we're going to try and restore from our restoration partition. I'm sorry, we don't have a restoration partition. Please insert boot disk.
That
I'm
was a
sorry,
debate I
have
had.
to reinstall Windows now.
And that was literally a debate I got in with someone where I was on another channel's live show, and I said I don't care much for Hyper-V, and neither did he, for the same reason. Like the Windows patching, because it applies to Hyper-V running for a Windows virtual machine, is a pain in the ass. And then a lot of people are just chiming in the chat going, "Oh, we just turn off updates," and we're like, "No." From the security side of me says, "Stop turning off updates." They're like, "Yeah, but the updates break it." I know, but if the updates don't break it, the hacking will. Now we have two reasons not to use Hyper-V.
Right. Holy shit.
So, yeah, they need to get they really need to get better at their patching for Windows. It's a mess.
I think they will. I mean, but it's been a long time of them still not being the best at.
Yeah,
patching.
it's not. They didn't start getting bad at it just yesterday. It's
not a new problem. Not a new problem, and it really doesn't even affect the majority of their users. And I think that's the most frustrating thing. It affects their power users. It affects the people that have things that are to a spec, right? So if you have a GPU, like this one may not play well, like this update may not play well with your GPU driver for, the first couple of days before they roll out the hot patch. Whereas some people don't update for 2 or 3 days after. They've gotten 2 or 3 hot patches that they don't even realize that are just that they call cumulative updates now.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Mystery cumulative updates.
yeah, that they don't really go deep into the same way, like with their formal updates have KBs, and then you'll have a random cumulative update.
Well,
And you're like,
and
what the fuck is
the
that?
other side that's really challenging is they the printer update was an example. So the update broke the printers on a lot of people's. This was a pain for us. The fix was to go in and manually load an optional update that fixed printers. Like, why is it optional? Why can't they at least detect that the printers all quit working? So what we have to do as IT providers is wait for the customer to call, because we don't know which computers are affected, which computers don't, which apparently Microsoft chose not to know either, because they didn't
Wow.
put any effort in knowing. And their answer was, oh, you load optional update. Well, why is it optional if it fixes the printer? Well, not everybody needs it. Well, enough people needed it. So there seems to be something you should be able to look at from a computer standpoint and go, printer's broke on this particular one because of XYZ reason, automatically load optional update. But Microsoft doesn't. So
Those.
it creates a really pain in the butt problem for us all the time.
Those is as those does.
Yeah. So, but this is a scarier attack. Cyber attack against water.
Yeah. So I mean, all the way back from MK Ultra, if you believe in that, and what was it, the Russians with the fluoride? What was it, or was it chlorine?
This was specifically an attempt to change the chlorine amount going in. I believe that's what they were after.
And
Fail safes kicked in. They had a good defense.
and that's I mean, they're claiming that the Iranian government has something to do with it.
Well,
But
seeing as Iran just accidentally leaked their OPSEC,
we probably would have some kind of proof about that on their machines, I would assume. But Israel's water system has been attacked, and I don't know why people won't just fucking leave. Oh, awesome. Give me 1 second. I gotta find my ex now. Won't leave Israel just alone. Maybe because they pop-ups in the middle of your show. I don't know, but like leave them alone because just be nice. That's the best way I could put it.
So
Apparently, if you want to put the internet and connect it to your water, you may want to keep Iranians off of your network, and maybe Russians too, at least, and then potentially Chinese. Start
and
there, and then
this is something that I really like the dive that Darknet Diaries did on attacking infrastructure. I think it was maybe the last episode they had, but it's this is a real scary and very real thing. So you're not talking about attacking with normal traditional weapons. You're talking about directly attacking the populace. And right now I'm going through a history podcast covering the history of World War II bombing planes and things like that. So it's kind of interesting to think like that was the technology today being used, and now here we are in 2020. This is the technology, 80 years later being used to do very similar type of things where they're focusing on, you can do a lot more damage attacking the populace with a pinpoint attack, and the hacking tools allow someone to do this with never even dropping more than just some commands on a one of these machines and adjusting the chlorine level. This could cause crop devastation, people getting sick, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of problems here, but it's also a good reason to say, are we ready to have those systems plugged in online?
Right. I mean, when you think about, remember Stuxnet, right? And Stuxnet was a covert operation where supposedly the United States and Israel targeted Iran with a cyber attack.
Yep.
So, and we know that there's supposed to be something about Stuxnet too. Did we cover that?
There's that book on Stuxnet, which is on my to-do list to read it. I had a couple of friends that read the book that said it was great.
So there's an article that came out that they're calling Stuxnet 2, and they're saying this was just 4th of July. I think 3rd of July is when it exploded. They're claiming that at that exact same nuclear plant, the Natanz nuclear plant, that there was an attack on the centrifuges, and that this was the second version of Stuxnet. And who knows exactly what, right? Because this is all cyber, and we don't know how this is all working.
And when
But
nation states fight, there's no postmortem, there's no debrief, there's no
right,
investigation
there is no investigation
because it's governments attacking governments. So
This is the
we
end of
get
it.
the least amount of information on these attacks.
And the crazy thing is we're talking about 10 years later since the last cyber attack that we know on this Natanz nuclear plant, and they still have this plant up and going, enriching, you know, atomic based,
Yep.
doing
The
atomic
nuclear
enriching,
enrichment, the uranium
right?
enrichment.
Nuclear enrichment, right? And they're doing this, and they're not supposed to be, right? And nobody wants to fly over and just drop a bomb on them, apparently, because no one has yet. And even though I think that we should be able to personally, because they're going against the deal, right? The deal was that you don't fucking make nuke materials and that we won't bomb you. And it's kind of like an even trade. Yet for the last 10 years, they've been making materials to make dirty nukes and potentially selling that shit to people like fucking, that are radicalized.
Right.
That's a really dangerous fucking situation where it's just like, this shit is getting like a powder. It's starting to become like a powder keg. It's just going to come to a head at some point. And this cyber shit is just the tip of the iceberg. There's been in real world kind of actions taking place between Israel, Iran, and America as well. It's getting really icky.
And what people, one thing that a lot of people start to make a mistake of, all the crime, all the wars will be fought cyber now. No, cyber's another weapon. Each thing, and that's actually why the history podcast I've been listening to, which is, if you're wondering, it's Malcolm Gladwell. Look up his podcast; it's really good. But when you cover some of the history written from the context that day, you realize everything is always cumulative. So we added another piece, another tool that can be used in the war. That's how each one of these are. So cyber is not replacing any other part. It's additional to all the other parts of war, which essentially what this is. This is nation states fighting is, a continuing and ongoing thing. Cyber is just the latest tool added in the toolbox, and it's ramping up fast.
Yep. And it seems to be a little less, seems to be aimed better. It's highly targeted. There's
very
less
targeted,
unnecessary casualties. So.
Yeah. So still interesting, and still very scary, because hopefully, as we know, the other side of it is, especially companies or government infrastructure, is well known here in the U.S. who've ever worked in any of that. It's not as well. It's not always as well protected as you think.
Yeah, it's almost never as well protected as you would like to believe. Speaking of being well protected and non well protected, did you hear about how all those logs and details got leaked from the VPN providers?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
So apparently, UFO VPN, Fast VPN, Free VPN, Super VPN, Flash VPN, Secure VPN, and Rabbit VPN, all based out of Hong Kong, dropped about 1.2 terabytes, or just about 1 billion records. Over 20 million people exposed worldwide. PII includes names, emails, home addresses. They got some passwords, Bitcoin addresses, some emails, personal device specs, PayPal API links, etc. Really, really interesting. So all those VPNs basically shared one server. They all had the same assets. They just ran under different names. Kind of like, you know how people do it, man. Set up a bunch of different.
I think what the problem is, VPNs are really, really oversold and overhyped to the general public. So all these companies keep popping up. Every YouTube or influencer or content creator, even way outside of tech. I mean, I heard like Philip DeFranco was selling VPN. Casey Neistat. Here's a guy that just makes cinematography selling VPN on his YouTube channel. And so everyone jumps on all of these. And this is obviously a bunch of crappy VPNs. But what it starts out is, lowest price, blah, blah, blah. How cheap can I get it? No one's researching the companies. But this is the challenge. Can you really trust any of these VPN companies? Because I think the Register had an article on this that says VPN companies that claim they don't log dumps logs.
Right, basically. And they claim that they don't keep any logs at all.
Yeah, zero logs. Look at that. Strict zero logs. All of the...
Right. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So if they hadn't been keeping any logs, then, I mean, let's be honest, they're in Hong Kong, so they probably have to log by law. Probably don't get to not log. Like, it's kind of an oxymoron to think that you would have a mainland Chinese VPN company. Like, that's kind of an oxy-fucking-moron. What do I want a VPN into the Great Wall of China?
Well, and what better way to capture people who want to bypass your firewall to do something?
Right.
How do I catch those people? Oh, I set up a VPN service because they'll come to me.
Exactly. Honeypots.
Yeah, they're honeypots, not VPNs.
Oh boy.
And of course, we didn't verbally say this. We have to because it's for every episode. Elasticsearch database was used. So.
Yeah, of course.
Can we have an episode? Every episode, someone had something exposed in Elasticsearch. This is just like an ad. They should just sponsor us, man. We mention her name every show.
Basically, right?
Because the best way to expose your data online, that should be their slogan. It's used by VPN companies, even in nation states.
There's only 4,300 Elasticsearches, and the majority of them are in China. United States, then Germany, then Hong Kong. But yeah, still pretty fucking bad. Like, it's just right here. Like, you don't have to go far. You just gotta type in Elasticsearch and just sometimes I get really frustrated. It's because it's just like, man,
they had a good product,
and a lot of shit's running over HTTP. It's not even running over HTTPS,
and no security on it.
Oh my God. And no security. So it's just like
it's all public facing.
It's really bad.
It is bad. I think the last little thing that's worth bringing up, and it is hopefully you don't have one of these devices, but there's a lot of likelihood that you have one of these devices and don't know it. Yes. It's this CDATA OLTs.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've never even heard of this.
So this is a really what these are is they're sold under different brands. And this is what I get confusing. These are some of those fiber link connections. So when a company delivers fiber, there's companies like, let's say I order fiber from AT&T or whoever. They're going to have some intermediary box before my firewall that they put in. That's what some of this is. And
why would they do that though?
Why is
there a box before the modem?
They have to have an intermediary to do the fiber conversion, and that's what these are. Now, so it's in front of, generally speaking, but not always, it depends on the client, this might be in front of my firewall, but what's scary is to scroll down was all of them use the same firmware. They're all produced by these, some company that kind of like white labels and produces it for them. But yep, they all got the same build from some crappy company. And look at the credentials. All hard-coded in Telnet. So,
well, you know what? I actually give them their credit though. Even though they're hard-coded, they're backdoors. I hate backdoors, but at least they're not like low-hanging fruit backdoors.
Yeah, they put root 126 instead of 123.
There you go, man. Come on. What do you mean?
So
1 plus 2 is 3 times 2 is 6. Done. 126.
Right. And so because a lot of these systems being out there and being used and being rebranded, this is not going to be easy to find, with the exception of the passwords being hard-coded, so you can just spray these passwords out there. And yeah. So it's going to be a mess. It allows people to start reconfiguring these. And of course, that allows then for them to maybe redirect different data around, redirect DNS somewhere else, depending on what level of security the company has on the other side of it with their firewall. But I've seen these similar devices. I don't think any of the clients we have had them, but we don't always note. This is one of those things because we don't manage these. We manage the firewall. We don't manage the line that got to the firewall.
Right.
And
It's
what this
upstream.
might be is, let's say for a building, they'll have this in the basement at the main DMARC, and then they'll distribute the data feeds to each other one of the other people. So it's not even something that the user, the customer, necessarily has control of. This is the feed up to, but just before your firewall. So it's not. It's purchased by at the carrier level. That's why it's white labeled.
So I could just mirror everything off that switch into another one and just open up
That's
Wireshark and just start.
Yep. And that's the scary part, was you get in these, you add another tap at the DMARC. And by the way, if you didn't know, from a social engineering standpoint, getting to the DMARC, it's hard to get inside of companies. Because let's say they're on the third floor, they're on floor 302 and you can't get into floor 302. They do everything right. But I can get to the DMARC in the basement by saying, hey, because the DMARCs are frequently multi-tenant. And normally you're like, well, I can protect it. No, I can go and telnet into one of these, create a port mirror, add my equipment because I made some claim. Hey, I'm in floor 16. Let me into the DMARC in the basement so I can add some piece of equipment. And some security guy goes, sure, why not? Trust me, I walk in buildings all the time.
Look like a computer guy. Works for me.
Yeah, you look like a computer guy. You're wearing a T-shirt that says something nerdy.
Something about cancel DEF CON.
You couldn't possibly here to do anything.
Right.
But yeah, you'll get in there, you create the port mirror, away you go.
And that's how they got hacked. And
that's how they got hacked.
If somebody has fucking payment card data on their network, PCI does not cover for things up beyond outside of the network. Like, there's no auditing of this. So your payment card data could still be snorted up by me outside of the authorization boundary of that entire company. It's really bad.
Well, and the other pivot to think about this. So, theoretically, because I'm in front of your firewall, everything should be encrypted. But once I set up a port mirror, even if I'm just using it to collect metadata, I know what websites you go to. I start learning a lot. Even though you're transmitting, most sites are, majority, but not all, most sites are SSL encrypted. So yeah, there's a lot I don't know, but I still have sudden access to massive amounts of metadata about these companies. So it starts building everything you want to know. I don't know. It's still this is going to be a mess for quite a while.
Yeah, this is going to be nuts.
So I'll leave you guys with this terrible thought, because this is not necessarily something that the end user can patch. This is something the providers have to deal with. Which, don't worry, they are taking it serious, because there's probably, my guess, they could probably do things inside here like, I don't know, change speeds. And that's the part that the providers don't really care about at all. Like, hold on, wait a minute here. Because if you remember the early days of cable modems, you could log into the cable modems and modify the speeds on them and change your internet speed. The early days of cable modems are fun. They fixed that. Oh, good. They got some dorks for it.
Built in right into the right click. Oh boy. It looks like they're all in India so far. Really?
It's gonna be a mess.
That's interesting. Let me see. What's this one? Come on, Showdown.
There is no end of security work. Is actually increasing at a rate faster than people can patch it.
India's got a big problem on their hands. It seems like a lot of those devices, particularly for those people, are in India.
I don't, like I said, I haven't seen these particular devices, but I'm positive they're lower cost, so they're probably used by smaller outside the U.S. small ISPs delivering fiber and things like that. They're trying to buy the cheapest stuff out there, and there's of
course.
Okay, so I see someone in the chat says that their ISP uses them. What country? I'm curious here. Go Showdown. Go, look at this. What a mess.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I should do some updated videos on Showdown too.
Showdown is amazing.
My Shodan video is pretty popular when I have. I should do a few more just showing how stuff works. They keep adding really great features to Shodan.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Gain full access for $49. If you're getting into cybersecurity, spend the $49. It's cheaper than a book.
Yeah, but is that per month now?
They have a
No, it looks like full access for $50 right now.
yeah, they have
They
some good
used to have
pricing for home
something.
users. They limit how many calls you could do and stuff like that, but it's still
No, you see that? Look.
okay.
So
That's still freelancer.
if you guys just saw this, go to /store/member. There are people that bitch at me all the time because they can't figure out a way to get the $50 showdown. There it is. When you go to pricing, you get the $60 a month option, right? But if you
Yep.
go right to where I just sent you, you'll be able to get the $49 one. I don't know how long this will work. I don't know if this is just for me because I'm already logged in or what, but I'm showing you that this shit still exists. I already have it. It's linked to my Facebook, which is signed out on this computer because it's fucking toxic. It's the only
So
downside.
Pups in chat says this is a problem in India. He does have these devices in India, so he said verified what we just figured.
Sorry.
So
sorry, Pups.
Yeah, sorry.
It looks like your ISP will need to patch him. It won't be anything you can do about it.
Yep.
And also, thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining. Although you do have root access to it now, so.
I mean, do as you please, right? I mean, you could do a denial of service on an entire net block if you like. I'm pretty sure you just got to do like a hex dump or just drop all traffic. Just actually take all the traffic and just send it to dev null. Finished.
Yeah. Just redirect everything. So you've watched another episode of How They Got Hacked. We've been trying to make these more and more regular. It's hard in the summer because my desire is actually to go outside a little bit in the summer.
Yeah, you got what do you got up for us today? You got to go do some car stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to a couple car shows, drive by, wave hi to people, stay 6 car lengths apart or something.
Nice.
Very nice. I've directed people to this if they don't know. If you're not from Detroit, if you look up Vice News Detroit Sunday Fun Day, you'll see all the illegal street racing that goes on in Detroit. And not that I ever would illegally street race, especially because I have a car that probably would tattletale on me. But there's a lot of areas of Detroit where the police turn a blind eye where you can go watch people horse around their cars. So there's something kind of fun about it. So car shows during the day, then at night, over on actually right by my house in Telegraph, a bunch of people drag race and we watch. There's the police, dude, we're doing it a mile from the state police station, and they're like, don't hit shit.
Don't hit shit.
Don't hit shit. Don't make us come out there is kind of what I can't. You literally they drag race and the finish line is basically the Detroit is the state police department right on Telegraph. I always laugh. I'm like, I can't believe they don't come down there and shut down. There's the entire parking lot filled with hot rods. Then people go around the loop. They line up and come down the street. Goes on until about 2 a.m.
Nice. It's pretty cool.
Sounds
like some fun.
It's a stupid hobby. You know what I mean? I can't justify why I like it so much. I see you post about that too. Like I'm boring outside of the 2 things I like.
Yep.
Give me some tech. Give me
guns, basically.
Guns and tech. I like guns too, though.
Probably gonna go shoot some guns when I get off of here. My friend's a member. He's at a members only spot, and they let us shoot unlimited. We just got to bring our own ammo. So probably go out there, throw a few rounds. Otherwise, I got fucking so much work to do for the car hacking village for DEF CON. Oh man, I had a busy last week, so I just kind of was MIA. I got to make up for like a week's worth of work. A lot of OBS stuff. Got to make this stuff look cool. We're remote, and I happen to be the only person that does live type of shows. So I got tasked with that.
Where are the cars physically going to be, or is that all classified?
The cars will physically be in Clarkston, and if you want to come and hang out with us, you can come hang out with us. We'll have airbags to blow up. We'll have a bunch of stuff. Some interesting things. So
sounds like it's a good way to create some good video content, some educational content.
Yeah. It'll all be online. So, our friend Pup over in India, he can sign on to virtual.carhackingvillage.com and blow up an airbag if he wants. Can actually go and hack a Tesla. We'll have these Raspberry Pis which have CAN hats connected directly to vehicles. So you'll be able to connect to the Raspberry Pi, use that as a pivot point to connect directly into the vehicle and start to send CAN messages around. So there's an entire 101 track that I'm doing a talk on. There's a bunch of other people that are doing 101 talks, and this will teach you how to get into car hacking and how to actually get onto these systems and play around so that you can have fun. So it's like a tutorial. And then of course we got about 10 car hacking like main talk tracks. One of which is, remember Kevin 2600? Remember we were talking about him with the relay attack? Well, his talk got picked up. So you'll be able to hear that in detail because he didn't really go in a huge amount of detail. So I'm ready to see his talk. That'll be fun.
Very cool.
There's some good ones. Yeah. Our friend Justin is doing he's doing his on key fobs. So he's probably going to be showing some scary shit.
Justin messed with my Tesla key. So first time I met him, I was like, I showed him a Tesla key, and then I was like, the guy instantly. I was like, yeah, ever seen a key at Tesla? He goes, can I scan it? I'm like, wait, we've got this far. Why not? He pulls the scanner out of his backpack. He's got a card cloner in there. He's like, hold on.
Yeah, Justin has fucking printers that actually print out government badges and shit. Like he's really good at his job.
Yeah, definitely a good time. So I'm looking forward to all that, and but we'll get you guys. We should be able to do this next week. We do have the potential for some guests coming up.
We'll have a special guest next week for sure. A literal special guest.
Guest. So very special.
Yeah, I think it'll be what do we choose? 5 p.m.
Something like that. We'll actually get this one because we had a time set ahead of time. We're always working to that. Oh, and I know we mentioned it. We still have never gotten around to doing this as a podcast, but we'll get to that too.
No, I've actually been working on that. It's harder than people like to think. Yeah, I'm working on that. I just got some other shit in front of it. But there's a server that you got to stand up, plug in a bunch of different API calls, and it'll go and strip the MP3s away. And then you have to set up a system to actually take all those MP3s, name them, tag them, descript them, and put them into like fucking somewhere to house them, something like a SoundCloud, and then use Apple to actually pull SoundCloud. And then you have to have a system that just does that because we don't want to do it manually. So I think Craft Computing has something similar like that set up.
Yeah, he said anything I reach out to him. He told me if I need help on any of that because we talked about that before and after I did the show with him that he's like, if you want any of this templates, I'll tell you how I did it all because his looks really cool when he does his live stream. So
we need to figure out his how he does it for the podcast.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that offline.
Yep, because he became a full-time creator, so he's got more free time. He's quit his job, and he's full-time in it, so definitely pretty cool. All right, man.
Ardilla says, do either of you do any kind of precision rifle shooting? Actually, my latest build is a 300 blackout build. So, yeah, that one is a longer range. I like to do precision shooting. I'm keen to it. But I don't want to hold up time. We'll chop it up next time.
I will mention I used to do some of it, mostly out of the laziness. I'm a more casual, occasional shooter. I grew up doing it a lot more than I do now. But it's still fun. I did it for 4th of July. We were we didn't film any, but we had Tannerite. That's all I'll say.
Very nice. Sounds fun.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks.
Later.